Yo, what's going on, guys? And today I want to do a bunch of the latest NBA trade rumors. There'll be timestamps, time markers, whatever you want to call them, in the description. So if you want to jump down to the rumor you want to hear, you can go ahead and do that. We're going to address several rumors from Kelly Olynyk to the Raptors to the Knicks to the Dallas Mavericks, from Pascal Siakam to other guys, as well as those videos will individually be turned into other videos with other reporting added to them. Now, I want to get right into today's video. Let me hear your thoughts down below. What is your expectation? There are supposedly more buyers than sellers this upcoming trade market or trade deadline, and that is the expectation with the NBA's trade market and what we're hearing on the rumor mill. Now, as we get into today's video, leave any thoughts, comments in the description. Hit that like and subscribe button as we're on the way to 20,000 subscribers. And let's get into the first rumor. So the first thing we're hearing is Kelly Olynyk is expected to have a robust trade market. We're hearing from KSL Sports. Now, basically what they are saying is that there's a lot going on with the Utah Jazz. They're definitely selling more than they were last season around this time, as their season isn't going as well as it was last year. Now, the guy that has been drawing the most interest, or the one that is getting the most calls, is Mr. Kelly Olynyk. Kelly Olynyk this season is averaging about 8 points in 20 minutes a night. It's nothing to set the world on fire about. Specifically 22 minutes a night, 8 points a game, 56% from the field, 41% from three, 5.5 rebounds, just under 5 assists a game, and a steal a night. He's a guy that in 27 games back in the 20 to 21 season, he did average 19 points a night for the Houston Rockets. And Kelly Olynyk's kind of a do-it-all big who can play both forward positions, both the 4 and the 5. He is a perimeter-oriented big, but he's a guy who loves to spot up the 3. He can, handle the rock a bit, put it on the floor. He's a decent playmaker, and he's, actually a decent front court player. He's really good off the bench as an instant offensive microwave player. He would be really good for a playoff contending team. He's got a bunch of tricks in his arsenal, and the thing is his goodness, like his best playing ability, is inconsistent, as he sometimes fades into the background. But he's a guy who's going to provide a little bit of everything. He's only making 12.1, so a lot of teams that need depth for the playoffs, especially in a combination of some big man help and some offensive firepower, they are going to be looking at Kelly Olynyk. Again, Kelly Olynyk is probably going to cost the team salary filler and a pick of probably 1 or 2 second rounders, or a young prospect that has some years left on his rookie scale contract. But besides that, I expect a contending team like the Boston Celtics, for example, or the Dallas Mavericks to go out and get a guy like Kelly Olynyk. So we have an update with what's going on with I don't know why I'm butchering their name, but the Toronto Raptors. As the Toronto Raptors obviously traded OG Anunoby, Malachi Flynn, and Precious Achiuwa for RJ Barrett, Emmanuel quickly, in a second round pick. And we all know that they have decided to go forward with the Scottie Barnes future. And it makes sense, okay? It makes sense. And as somebody who's been watching this happen, we need to understand where the Raptors are currently at. The Raptors are right now looking to see what happens with Pascal. So Pascal Siakam has the option till June 30th to sign a 4-year, $190 million extension with the Raptors. If he gets traded to a team, he can only sign a 2-year extension, but he can re-sign and then sign a max with them in the offseason, which supposedly is kind of how Pascal Siakam is holding leverage in trade talks, as he is only going to go to a team that, and the Raptors are communicating with teams, which teams are willing to re-sign him to the money that Pascal wants, because that is going to basically, Pascal gets traded to a team that he's going to re-sign with, they're going to get more in, they're going to receive more in compensation. But if he gets traded to a team that he probably isn't going to resign to, they're going to receive less in compensation. So that's something that could dictate what they get. But Adrian Wojnarowski is reporting basically that the Pascal Siakam trade update is that the Raptors obviously are building around Scottie Barnes with players that fit the age timeline compared to Siakam. And Siakam has value around the league, but he holds leverage on the potential destination because of the expiring contract. And his interested teams want to know if he would resign with them, which will impact what the Raptors will receive in a trade. Toronto is now using this window of time till the trade deadline to see what Pascal Siakam will look around the core, which is going to be Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickley, and RJ Barrett, which obviously that does make sense if you're a Raptors fan. For me, when I look at this, I think, okay, we're hearing that right now that specifically that a team besides, we know that the Detroit Pistons are a team that are interested in Pascal Siakam. We know the Memphis Grizzlies are interested. We've heard that the Mavericks are interested, but it's overstated that they're not willing to overpay. A deal for Pascal from the Mavericks would have to include Maxi Kleber, Tim Hardaway Jr., Rashawn Holmes, some combination of those contracts. A Pistons deal would probably be Joe Harris, Bojan Bogdanovic, while a Memphis Grizzlies would be probably revolving around Brandon Clark, Steven Adams, and other salary filler. Now, there is, of course, one more team we're hearing that is going to be the Indiana Pacers, as the Indiana Pacers have long held interest in trading for Pascal Siakam. It's being reported right now that Adrian Wojnarowski is saying Pascal Siakam is drawing interest from the Indiana Pacers. So the Indiana Pacers, I think, are the best team to go after Pascal Siakam, as I think they can give him a decent package. The quote is, I believe that they'll continue to be a team that probes on Toronto's Pascal Siakam is, of course, the Indiana Pacers. What can they offer? He makes $37 million, and the Pacers, they can, I believe, can eat some of that salary, but I think for them, if they wanted to do a trade like this, it's going to come down to them having to package. Would Buddy Hield have to be in that deal? I think that's where it becomes interesting. Is Buddy Hield, or is it going to be like a guy like Bruce Brown? Because the easiest way to do this deal, Bruce Brown, TJ McConnell, and Jarris Walker. I've heard that if there is going to be a deal for Pascal Siakam, that it's going to be around Jarris Walker, unless they can convince them to take a combination of like Jalen Smith. But for me, the easiest deal, Bruce Brown, TJ McConnell, Jarris Walker. Next easiest deal, Buddy Hield, Daniel Tice, Jarris Walker, because that's going to lead to the Pacers not having to give up as many picks. And if they're really trying to go in on this Tyrese Haliburton timeline, then they would go after Pascal Siakam right now and try not to give up as many picks as they would if they'd have to go for, obviously any other play. Like by trading Jarris Walker, you don't have to give up as much compensation. There's that. That's what you're thinking. And so for me, that makes sense, as I wouldn't want to give up too much compensation if I'm the Indiana Pacers. At least that's my thought process. But it's all going to depend on what will happen as the season progresses. But that's where we're going to hold on to that thought, because I think any other deal, because like giving up Bruce Brown, for Pascal Siakam isn't too much. Okay, I feel like that's a really good deal, and most people would be happy with that if they can do that. But again, there is the idea of, do you want to force it and try to want to not rock the boat? And that's a decision you have to debate in house, and with the deadline, we'll see how good the Pacers are and if they feel like those are moves that are going to help them put over the edge. So the New York Knicks continue to want to make moves. They just traded for OG Anunoby, giving up RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley in a second-round pick. As members of the New York office believe they have enough assets to trade for a significant player even after acquiring OG Anunoby, according to Ian Begley of SNY. The Knicks currently have up to 8 tradable first-round picks, including 4 of their own. The team also has several tradable eligible players, including Evan Fournier, Quentin Grimes, and his $18 million contract. Josh Hart and Miles McBride cannot be traded prior to the 2024 deadline due to the fact that they signed extensions. Now, we're also hearing that the Knicks will always have interest in Karl-Anthony Towns. The New York Knicks allegedly have interest in him forever because he is a CAA client, which Leon Rose used to be the president of that agency, and now his son runs that agency, and the Knicks have several CAA players under contract on their roster. The quote from Shams Charania on Run It Back by FanDuel TV is, quote, "The Knicks have all the flexibility. They maintain all their assets. They have 8 first-round picks to trade. I expect them to prioritize playmaking. They're always going to have interest in Karl-Anthony Towns. Nothing has materialized as of yet. They have the pieces, they have the contracts, they have the young players, guys like Quentin Grimes, that you can potentially throw into a trade," end quote, said Shams Charania. It was reported earlier this year that the Knicks were monitoring Karl-Anthony Towns' situation. We know that Karl-Anthony Towns won't be traded this season, and the only way he'd be traded this season if the Timberwolves lose in the first round and everything goes awry. Now, there has not been an offer made for Karl-Anthony Towns, but the Knicks do believe that they have enough assets to bring in another significant player. I've said this before. I do not believe there is a significant player out there. There's Pascal Siakam, which obviously they just did a deal with the Raptors. They're not going to do another one. DeMar DeRozan, don't really think he moves the needle. Plus, he would clog up the lane. There wouldn't be enough spacing. Zach LaVine, I don't know if he's enough. I don't think he's a ceiling raiser. There's also Jeremy Grant, who, if anything, he's the best fit, but he would make them too wing deep, and I think he just raises their floor, not their ceiling. And besides that, I don't think there's another player that's going to become available for them in the immediate future. That becomes where it becomes incredibly difficult to imagine that they're going to be able to make a move in my mind. Now, I'd like to be proven wrong, but I think as long as this is the situation, I think that's what we're going to hear. So I want to hear your guys' opinions down below in the comment section. What do you guys expect from this? And are you guys in the same boat as me that I think the Knicks, you're just going to have to wait? Because if you force anything, it could, backfire. But at the same time, Evan Fournier's contract is going to expire, and they're not expected to go all out for Donovan Mitchell, and because they don't want to handicap themselves. So for me, I think it does become a bit interesting to see how this is all going to play out. So let me hear your thoughts. We're hearing that the Dallas Mavericks are looking to upgrade at power forward, but their interest, according to Mark Stein of the Stein Line Substack, for Pascal Siakam is overstated, that they're looking to upgrade the position and they have registered interest in Siakam, but that it is overstated. They are connected to Isaiah Stewart. Now, Isaiah Stewart has a poison pill. He makes 5.2 this year, but he would have to trade 10.5 to bring him on due to that trade kicker. And a deal for Isaiah Stewart would probably be like Rashawn Holmes in a pick or Maxi Kleber in a pick, and that would be easier for them to get instead of having to package like Tim Hardaway Jr. with Josh Green, Jaden Hardy, and Rashawn Holmes in a pick for Pascal Siakam. And the other thing is they could probably package Rashawn Holmes and Maxi Kleber, who Maxi Kleber he's awesome. I love Maxi Kleber, and I don't think they should trade him, but he's been injured so much. Like, is he still the same player he once won? The best ability is availability, they say, and his durability has not been there. So you package Rashawn Holmes and Maxi Kleber and probably send a second-round pick for John Collins, who's a player that they've been interested in for a while. Now, obviously, I think there are things that could dictate on how that all plays out and who they'll go after. But for me, it makes a ton of sense if they go ahead and try to get a guy through the bargain bin like a John Collins or an Isaiah Stewart, instead of breaking the bank and bankrupting themselves of assets by going out and getting Pascal Siakam, which could be creating too many cooks in the kitchen because you already have Kyrie, you already have Luka Doncic. You're going to have too many guys who like the ball in their hand, in my opinion. So I don't see that happening. I don't see it being something that they do. It makes no sense to do it, in my opinion. So for me, the way I see the situation, they would go out and get themselves either, like I said, an Isaiah Stewart, a Kelly Olynyk, a John Collins, a Marvin Bagley even, I think would be guys that they would have more interest in. A Jonathan Isaac, a Chuma Okeke. But I think Chuma's more of a wing. But you get what the point is. There are the other options that I think would fill the need, and it wouldn't cost them as much. And that's where I feel about that one. And let me hear your thoughts down below. But yeah, I think that's basically my thoughts on what the Mavs are going to do. Let me hear your thoughts and let's continue. So Zach LaVine is still drawing interest from, yes, the Los Angeles Lakers. So teams that are looking for offense, obviously the Lakers. If you guys didn't know, the Lakers this season, according to StatMuse, if we want to go ahead and tell you guys what the team's offensive rating, they're a team that's been, obviously improved defensively. Last year, they were the 11th defensive rating, 20th defense. This year, they are the 10th defensive rating, 23rd offensive rating. Yes, they are the 7th worst offense in the league. So they're a team that's looking for offense. And USA Today writes that, Zach LaVine's a guy that they're interested in, and his availability is something that you could get for cheap. He's averaged so far, as he's about to come back from a right foot inflammation, 21 points, 5 rebounds, 3.5 assists. He's shooting 44% from the field, 33.6 from 3, 86% from the free throw line. Obviously, he's an insane scorer. He's been out since November 28th with that right foot inflammation. He's on the second year of a 5-year, $215 million deal. Now, what do you get when you get Zach LaVine? Zach LaVine's a guy that, look, I understand that he's not really a guy who's going to get, he can play defense. He's way better at defense than when he first started his career, and he's a threat in the half court, and he can score at any given moment. And he's a crazy athlete, can create his own shot. He's a good catch and shooter. He's improved as a defender, but albeit from a very low point. He's just a high quality offensive player. It's the contract. Okay, it's the same thing with Bradley Beal. Look at what happened to the Suns. When you give up all that room and your salary cap for one guy, you get handicapped. Okay, you turn yourself into a cuckold because you're gonna watch yourself get fucked. But at the end of the day, if you feel like he's gonna give you a championship, if you feel like he can be that treasury, right? I feel like, I don't know, third option scorer that will put it over the top so that you can win a championship, then go get him. I don't believe that he's that guy, but if you do believe that he's that guy, then there's no reason why you shouldn't go out and get him. There's other players that I think you can go out and get. We've heard that Gordon Hayward and a Gordon Hayward deal could happen. I mean, that works. I think Terry Rozier would be the better option if they're going there. DeMar DeRozan, of course, is another one, and he's on a cheaper deal. So you sit here and you think, what could they do, or what will they do? And I think what we've seen Rob Pelinka do time in and time out again is be a guy who enjoys cap flexibility. As I'm in agreement that the best thing you can do in today's age is make sure you're able to keep your roster flexible for any moves, as the second tax apron is about to come into effect with the new collective bargaining agreement. And I think that that's just something that you need to be mindful about and be able to continue to finagle and work around. So that's just my thoughts with the Lakers, and let's just get back into the reporting of what else we've heard for the Lakers and Zach LaVine. Guys, now if the Cavaliers were going to do something, okay, we've heard that the Miami Heat are a team that would love them. We heard Brooklyn and the New York Knicks are obviously here, but the Heat have been looking for a combo guard to go with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. And the Cavaliers traded for Mitchell with the hopes that he would resign, but he has not signed an extension. His number right now is 2024 to 25 season is 34.8 million, and he has a player option in 2025 to 26, and he can become a free agent in the 25 summer. So obviously Donovan Mitchell is a guy that we all know and all have come to love. He's a guy who's having arguably a career year this season, averaging third in 36.5 minutes a night, just under 28 points a game, 46% from the field, 35% from 3, 6 rebounds, 6 assists a night, 2 steals. Oof. He's a guy who can do a little bit of everything. The 6'3" with like a 7-foot wingspan on his body. All right. He's one of the most talented offensive players in the league. All right. He's a guy that can come out, score, give you anything from all 3 levels: drive to the rim, step back, be amazing. And even for his size, 4-time All-Star, been an All-NBA player. He's a guy who can, when he wants to, be an energetic defensive player. He's one of the most clutch players in the league. And he's not a great defensive player, but at times his physical attributes make him be better than what he should be. And he can be a bit of a ball hog, ball stopper, but he's become a better playmaker, especially this season with Darius Garland being out. So I think the Miami Heat going ahead and trading for him, that would have to be basically Tyler Hero being the guy with Nikola Jovic, Jaime Jaquez. Nikola Jovic, Jaime Jaquez, and the 2 or 3 first round picks they have to trade. And that would just be the start of the deal. If that deal were to ever come through or ever to happen, that's how it would happen. And I don't know, the more and more you look at this, do you actually believe that it would happen? I don't know. But that's basically my thoughts on that. I want to hear your guys's. Do you guys believe in a deal for Donovan Mitchell to the Miami Heat or not?